Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1549, written by thiscanbethrownaway. A shark was chasing my car. I'm driving home late one night from work at about 1 a.m. I worked in the Alliance area of 35 and Fort Worth, and I lived in Denton. I'm driving down 35, and other than a few 18-wheelers in front of me, I am alone on the road. Anyone who is familiar with this stretch of highway, you know that it is super dark at night. No lights, no exits, just a few miles of road and country until you get to Denton. I'm about to change over from the left lane to the right. I look into my rearview mirror, and there, lit in red by my taillights, is a giant shark. Swimming as if it were submerged in water, bearing down on me, jaws open. Rows of razor teeth exposed, ready to strike. I screamed and jerked my head around to look out my window. Nothing. It was gone. No one behind me, no cars, no trucks. Certainly no giant sharks. As if nothing just happened at all, I pulled over, shaking and sweating. It had all taken place in a fraction of a second, and I had no idea how to process what I had just seen. There was a shark in my rearview mirror that was inches away from ripping the crap out of the back of my car. The image still plays in my mind over and over. I'm not crazy. I have no history of mental illness, neither does anyone in my family. I had not, at that time, ever partaken in hallucinogens. I had never, and since then, still have never had any kind of hallucination like that. Anyone that I have ever told thinks I'm either lying or nuts, and I kinda hope I am. But I saw that shark, and it saw me, and it wanted my blood. Case notes of file 1549. A shark was chasing my car. One of the most peculiar glitch stories I've ever read. Most notable because you have no history of hallucination, nor does your family. No history of mental illness, no alcohol involved, no drugs. It is exceptionally rare to have a hallucination of something so wild only happen once. If it was an aberration of your brain, you'd think it would happen more than just one time. To never have it repeat again makes me think that this really was a glitch in the Matrix. If it was a glitch, well, we know about multiverse sight. Seeing other universes as they are now, in relation to your geographic area and time, it's all happening concurrently, then maybe it's multiverse sight from a multiverse universe that is so far away that in that universe, in the area you're right now, driving on a road, it's actually full of water, maybe the ocean, and the shark is just swimming there? And I mean, yeah, there are universes that are exceptionally different than what we have now. Universes where the planet Earth doesn't even exist, or exists as a molten ball of rock because a meteor crashed into it. Maybe a universe where climate change went truly extreme, and now there's just an ocean of water where you are. Something like that is the only thing I can think of that makes any sense. Case file number 1550, written by iDadeMarshall. 4 friends' eerie encounter with a time warp. I was driving back to college from spring break with 3 other friends. We were all from the same hometown, and our university was roughly 4 hours away. As a precursor, none of us took drugs of any sort, and we were all on various sports teams with full rides for academics. We were the kids whose parents let them drive the Escalade or Range Rover back to college, and everything always went our way. Your typical Ivy Leaguer. Not always proud of this, but it's just to validate that we weren't your typical alien abductees crazy people. About 3 hours into the drive, we start noticing familiar signs that we saw hours ago. Confused, we just kept driving and ignored it. After about 10 minutes, we knew something was wrong. Since we were seeing all the same signs and landmarks we did 3 hours prior, we never got off the freeway, drove south the whole time, and nobody fell asleep. We drove 3 hours south, then out of nowhere, we were right back near the start. We figured since we left our hometown at noon, we would get to school by 4. We didn't get to school until 7, and never hit any traffic. It was like we went into a time warp or something, and it scared us so much that nobody said a word the rest of the trip. When we got to school, none of us said anything to each other or talked to each other for over a month other than the agreement never to speak about it. Case notes of file 1550. 4 friends' eerie encounter with a time warp. Yeah, so this is just a classic mega space-time portal. And they're happening so often now that it's almost... If you go on a long road trip and nothing wonky happens, you don't move around in space and time just a little bit, it's almost like that is the weird part. If it doesn't happen to you, that's strange. If it does, well, that's just another road trip. So enjoy your portals, because they're popping all over the place. But almost always when you're driving, and still a weird part about that. It's like they're positioned on roads deliberately. Case file number 1551, written by Jaela, the bizarre case of Julia's disappearing pregnancy. One night, I was at a friend's house and a mutual friend of ours came over. Let's call her Julia. Anyway, it became apparent to me as soon as Julia walked in that she was pregnant. And I mean way pregnant. The girl has always been really tiny, and she still was, except for a big round pregnant belly and larger boobs. It couldn't have been just weight gain because she still had skinny arms and a thin face. Basically, it was really obvious that she was preggers, and it couldn't have been anything else. Cue this awkward thing where I'm trying not to stare, wondering if I should congratulate her or show concern, because she's only 17 and not in a stable financial situation to raise a child. She says nothing at all, and neither does the friend whose house we're in. I tell my mother about this in confidence, because I just kinda need to tell someone about this whole awkward thing. A week later, my mother sees Julia at the store, comes back and tells me there's no way she's pregnant. She looks just as tiny all over as usual. Confused, I figured my mom must have seen someone else. So I call up the friend whose house we went to. She also has no idea what I'm talking about, even though she was right there with us on the night that it was so clear Julia was pretty far along. Fast forward to a year later. I haven't heard from Julia in a while, and get on Facebook to find out she's been in the hospital in labor with a child. I get prickles on the back of my neck and go way back on Julia's page until I find a message saying that she's coming over to my friend's house to hang out with us, exactly a year from that day. Case file 1551. The bizarre case of Julia's disappearing pregnancy. Okay, so you peered ahead in time exactly 1 year, and your subconscious used that information to recreate a scene of how Julia will be later on. It's strange, isn't it, how our subconscious really governs everything. Our conscious reality is fed in through our subconscious. The subconscious is almost like the chef that is cooking up reality for us to experience and enjoy. I guess it's not that strange if you think about how weird our dreams are. Reality is a bit more concrete, but not always. Now time for the joke of the day. Why shouldn't you tell a legume your secrets? They always spill the beans. Yes, they're always going to give your secrets away, so just eat them instead. Pretty good for you, lots of fiber. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.